Hey everybody, welcome to those of you who've been hanging with me some time, and welcome to those of you who are new to my channel. I'm Mandela Levine, intuitive and medium. Okay guys, I have some announcements at the end, but we're going to dive right into the subject at hand. The Mandela effect is the idea that Nelson Mandela, when he was in prison, people swore he had passed away in prison in the 80s. People had swore that for sure. Nelson Mandela, if you're not familiar, you should go get yourself familiar. But he led the apartheid movement, and he was in prison and all that type of stuff, you know, led to free people and all that. And the concept of the Mandela effect is that people swore he passed away in the 80s, but he didn't into the later 2000s. And I am going to do something I don't normally do on this, on this video, on my videos, which is kind of show you a little bit of the examples of things that people have sworn has happened. Now, okay, so the Mandela effect is the idea that you may have a memory that he died in the 80s, and someone else is like, I have no memory of that. He did not die in the 80s. And the two people are going, what? That's crazy. It's impossible. I could have sworn he died. So it's almost like a split in reality, or split in the idea of like two realities kind of split. But the interesting part is that we're all here, we're all in this reality, we're all on this earth, but your memory of it is one way and someone else's memory is another way. Could it be that people are just remembering things differently? I mean, there is a theory that because of the internet and there's so much information that we're able to find out things, you know, kind of, for example, this isn't a Mandela effect, but kind of example, you may have a memory of words to a song, and then you find out the actual words to the song. And you're like, I could have sworn these were the words to the song. And then now that we have information and you're able to look it up online and you see it for yourself and you get all this accurate information that we didn't have in the 80s or even in the 90s, you're able to find out, oh, no. I could have sworn it was this, but it is actually this. Some people believe that we're getting all this information so clear now because of the internet that maybe just misinformation on news channels and radio and newspapers were just a misinformation, and people were just not all getting the information at the same time. Whereas now, because of the internet, we're all getting the information at the same time. However, when we get into the subject, we're going to get into it in a very grounded way. Okay, hold on. I got to take a little sip from my Paris cup and just transport to Paris. Okay, so I'm going to go over some examples. The Mandela effect, Nelson Mandela is the main example. It started it all, where people were like, what? What do you mean he's still alive? I could have sworn he passed. There's many different celebrities that people have sworn have passed. There's a couple I remember. One of them is the Star Trek. I forget her name, but she was the only African-American actor on the show, the Star Trek. You know, Star Trek. I'm talking about the show, not the movies. You always saw the back of her head. I can't recall her name right now. Maybe Citric's going to throw it up for me. And she, I could have sworn that I saw that they did, a tribute to her at the Oscars. And then I was like, wait a minute, she's alive? And I was like, what? So there's like examples like this. Like I could have sworn, like in my reality, and this is the idea of Mandela effect, that my reality, she had passed, but someone else's reality, she hadn't. So there's things like that. Now, there's a Mandela effect is the idea that there are lots of, like, maybe millions of people who share this same belief. So like maybe my memory of something may not be like as mainstream. So in other words, that example isn't a good example of a mainstream example, but here's one. Anybody recall the Bernstein Bears books? The Bernstein Bears, do you recall that? There were little kids books with these little bears for all you little young ones out there. back when it wasn't even books I read as a kid, honestly. It was books that I read when I babysat for other, little kids. So it's not like as old as me, even though we're not saying I'm old, are we? But we're saying that it's not something that I remember as a child, reading these books, but I used to read them to kids when I was babysitting. And I remember the name because there's someone I know very, very well, very close to, who has this last name when I was growing up. And I was like, I could swear, because I even remember saying, this is your name. Now, I am not the only one. If you are watching this and you want to Google it right now, you will find tons and tons and tons and tons and tons, millions of people remember the same thing. But now, when we see the books, they're Bernstein bears. Example, please. Yeah, Bernstein bears. So this is an example of the Mandela effect. So people swear that there was these books with Bernstein, and now it says Bernstein. And then there's people who say, oh no, it always said Bernstein. And the two people are going like, what? This person, like me, is like, hands down, no doubt in my mind, for sure, it is Bernstein. For sure. I have it etched in my brain. There's people who grew up with these books who are like, I read these books every night. I know an E and an A, the difference is. It's not like I just came across this book casually. But the funny thing, the interesting thing about the Mandela effect is there are no copies of Bernstein. And that's what's driving people crazy. It's not like you can think, well, maybe they changed it. Maybe over time they changed the name, which would be kind of odd. But there are other Mandela effects that people kind of go, oh, it could have changed, and they changed their branding, they changed their name, and we're just like not paying attention. This isn't one of those Mandela effects that people feel that way about, because there are so many examples that people have shared that some people are like, listen, this was just like a new campaign. They changed their brand, they changed their name. Listen, you guys are getting a little obsessive, but this isn't one of them. Here's another. I'm going to read off to you some other example. Jiffy versus Jif. Which could have been a brand name? That's not like a big one. Anybody? And comment below. Come on, as I'm reading these, go ahead and comment if you're like, what? But no, guys, it doesn't say Jiffy. It says Jif. Now, it could be that there was a song and maybe they did an advertisement and it was Jiffy, like this is Jiffy. There's a lot of theories. Looney Tunes with Toons versus to Looney Tunes to Tunes. So Looney Tunes, not Looney Tunes, meaning, okay. The Bernstein Bears, I just gave an example, but now it says Bernstein. Sex and the City. Now, people swear Sex and the City was Sex in the City, right? And I did see, and you could look it up if you want, but let me tell you, some of these you have to do so much research to find anything. I think I found, like, people have gone through their old like DVDs and all kinds of things to find proof. And it can be one of those things that, let's say that when a first show came out, they were doing that and then they changed it. But I even remember, because I was a fan of the show when it came out. Yes, I was. Okay, don't judge, but I was in my 20s. And I was a fan of the show and everything like this. Wait, no, might have been a little older. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, shall we? And I remember it having to be corrected from the Sex. I remember going, no, it's Sex and the City, not in the city. But that's a big argument. And they're like really big ones. There's the biggest one is Star Wars. Yeah, I was going to have to mention Star Wars, guys. But Star Wars, one of the biggest ones is everybody remembers Vader saying, Luke, I am your father. And it is said that was never said. That's one of the ones. And it was said something different, like Fruit Loops. Let's see, there's like a lot of little ones. There's ones about Kit Kat. There's a lot of food ones, meaning Kit Kat. There's like something missing the dash, the hyphen is now missing. Okay, so I'm giving you examples. I'm scrolling one. Another Star Wars one is that C-3PO has a silver leg. Even the biggest fans of Star Wars in Halloween costume get it wrong. The robot isn't all golden. Now, okay, come on. I never remember, because if you watch the movies and you guys are going to be going running and scrambling and looking for stuff, it shows him with silver. Yes, silver. The robot isn't all gold. He has one silver leg. Anybody remember that? Now here's one that I looked at myself that is crazy. This one is The Wizard of Oz. In The Wizard of Oz, you know, when they're in the dark forest and the witches, you know, they're throwing apples and things like this and they're all scared. The Scarecrow has a gun. Does anybody remember that? The Scarecrow has a gun. I don't remember that, but I had to go watch the movie and he pulls a gun out. Now, is this one of those things that when you're a kid and you're watching it, you just kind of don't notice because you're just like wrapped up in the story? But I have seen that movie 10 million times. I've never seen a gun from the Scarecrow. So that's another one. So let me know, you guys, what do you guys think? And these are, they go on and on and on. There's a lot of them that I believe are definitely, here's the Luke, I am your father. So Luke, I am your father. Honestly, this is the one that cut deep. Perhaps the most famous is what someone wrote. Line in history wasn't even said. All he really said was, I am your father. So the Luke part is to be said never happened. So is it one of those things that we all decided together that we just wanted to insert Luke because that would be like a cool line and that's how we saw it because it's Luke? Was it his dialogue? We just kind of heard it. I mean, there's a lot of arguments about this one. And I even saw an interview with the man himself who played Darth Vader. And he was like, I never said Luke. So, and then I think I saw another interview where he does say the line, Luke, I am your father. So it's really interesting. So what is this all about? If you go down this rabbit hole, this is a very long rabbit hole. You will get lost in this. So please stay grounded about this because it can take you down many different rabbit holes. And by the way, then people are throwing out this and people are throwing out that. Like I said, there's some main staples that people all kind of agree, like the Bernstein Bears, Luke, I am your father, C-3PO, things like this, and Mandela as well. I never remember him passing, by the way. I never remember that. And I followed the story of his life, so I don't remember that. So there are a lot of rabbit holes, but it's interesting. It's really interesting. Is it the fact, and let me know what you guys think, is it the fact that maybe we're all kind of getting so much information and getting all the correct information because of the internet that we're all starting to see things that we just inserted over the years? Or has two realities split, which is the idea of the Mandela effect? Now, I'm probably going to get this wrong, so Citric's going to throw it up here to get it right. But there is a machine that was created to split atoms, or now listen, I'm not going to be acting like I'm some expert on this. That's Surin, and I think it's called Surin, right? Pretty sure. Right. He'll let me know. And it's this machine that they have been trying to work with atoms and things. And people believe that this machine created a split in our reality, that there's two realities that split and kind of like shifted things. Some people believe, because it's not just some machine. It's a huge, huge center of where all of these experiments of dealing with atoms and trying to understand time travel and all kind of stuff is happening. And that this is created a shift, not a shift like what I covered in Reality Shift, but it created a split. Now, has that happened? I wanted to do this video, but I wanted to do it with a complete understanding that I am saying stay grounded, stay aware, don't get lost down the rabbit hole. However, in a scientifically speaking, not that I'm a scientist, but the concept of science and how we're exploring, it is interesting, isn't it? It's just interesting. What is our perspective? Is it just the fact that we're seeing things and we see things from our point of view and we think we're all seeing things from the same point of view? I tend to believe this is so. But there are some things that are kind of strange, like the Bernstein Bears. And it's like, nope, that was never the case and you can't. Now, here's another big one, and that is the movie Shazam. Somebody I know remembers Shazam greatly. So the movie is with the comedian Sinbad. He swears it never happened. If you see a little video out there, he actually did a little joke spoof of acting like someone actually found the video. No one can find it. No one can find it where he plays a genie. He doesn't even remember finding it. And people swear they saw this movie. Did you? So it's interesting. It's very interesting because is it the idea that we all thought we saw something and we remember it because we put our spin on it and we all have different perspectives. But when there's a shared collective consciousness of we remember this together as a unit, and then there's a whole nother group that has a collective consciousness of nope. And that's what's interesting about the Mandela effect. It's like split of two consciousnesses that are having different memories of things that happen here in this plane. What do you guys think? Now, I do encourage you to play around down this rabbit hole. Go look, go check it out. It's an interesting, but also check out the whole concept of Syrian? Yeah. And go check that out and read about why people think this has happened. I've seen some really far out things, like people are like, there never was a restaurant on the street that I've walked down, over and over my whole life. Now there is, and gets a little dicey, guys. So stay grounded, but you're welcome. If you've never heard of this, you're welcome. I've given you, if you're in quarantine, if you're living somewhere where you need something to do, just stay, what is it? Grounded. Okay? All right. It's just an interesting concept. And also, like I said, look at why people think this could be happening. Don't just be running down places that are like, oh my gosh, this is happening, but why people think this could be happening. And there's a lot of interesting theories. I feel like one of the best ones is the idea that we are all getting so much information now because of the internet that we're able to clear so many things up that we just kind of filled in over the years. And now we have the information at our fingertips, right? There you go. Okay, so here's a couple announcements. I'm doing a class this Saturday, April 24th, on how to make intention candles. I also have a kit out for you. You do not have to get the kit to do the class. However, I provided this kit for you. It comes in this awesome little bag with my name sewn on. It comes with a handmade candle that is soy and palm. I love this candle. Chicky Moo made it, not me, but it is handmade. And I love this candle because it has easy to carve, which is what we do in the intention candle making. Sealed in one of these, but I already opened, will come 3 things of glitter. This is gold. I use this for protection, pink for the heart, purple for opening up that site, a carving tool, isn't it pretty, rose gold to carve, and oil that you put around the candle that is rose, sandalwood, frankincense, and myrrh. Awesome. To pour on the candle. Now in my class, I'm going to teach you guys how to do this, but this is available to you anytime. Like I said, you do not need it in order to do the class. However, it is available to you on my website. It's only $30. for everything to get you started on your way. I wanted to create a kit. If I was going to teach a class, I was like, listen, a kit would be awesome for people as well. And I've always wanted to do that anyway. Also, like I mentioned before, I'm giving 30% off if you put the code TUBE. I don't have the 50% off anymore, but I did announce this on my Instagram and on here because I really want to give something to everybody that has been supporting me on all the things I've done. If you've been following me and you're still at the end of this video, you might have seen that The Witch in the Medium came back, and we actually just launched our first episode, and enjoy. I put out an awesome new episode on my podcast, Peering into the Narrow Room, with my guest, Margot Lane. It's all about music. It's all about how to raise your vibration, or why do we raise our vibration with music, and the science behind it, and which kind of brain are you? Why are you attracted to different genres of music? What draws you to it? She knows music theory. She's a musician and she studies music theory. So it was really, really cool. Thank you guys so much. Follow yourself, follow no one, listen to your inner voice, and I'll see you soon.